Good morning, good morning, good morning. You know what today is? Monday morning chats with Sack. Sack is me. I hope that you guys had a good weekend. My weekend, honestly, it was pretty chill. I spent a lot of my weekend doing some research, and I I was doing research, and I went to a football game. That's what triggered today's topic. But before I get to the football game, we had a joint fall fest with Monumental City Bar Association and the Black Women Alliance Association. And so we pretty much had this. This is my first time because I'm not a Baltimorean. This is my first time being in Gwynn Falls, Lincoln Park, and we were under the Ben Cardin Pavilion. The pavilion is pretty nice. It has electricity. It's very big, and we just enjoyed ourselves. We had a great caterer, so shout out to Sydney Ruff. She's a caterer in Baltimore, so if you're looking for a caterer in Baltimore City, I had the perfect one. So it was pretty dope. Got a chance to meet some new law students that go to Maryland. I got a chance to just meet some of my other colleagues. There's a lot of attorneys in Baltimore City that I don't know, and so my goal is to make sure I know at least like 75% of them. So it was great, definitely great, but I did that. But the highlight of my weekend, I went to Miss Shirley's. Oh my God, the food is so amazing. I went to Miss Shirley's in Annapolis, and I got a chance to hang out with my best friend. So hanging out with my best friend is just always a great time. Like, just always a great time. And yeah, my Eagles lost. My cousin made a comment yesterday, and she said, let's see how this Monday morning chats with Seth will be considering that your team lost. Because she's like a diehard Cowboys fan. I don't understand why, considering that we are from Philly. But that's a different topic for a different day. But yeah, so I just had the football game, the Fall Fest, and I went to Miss Shirley's. Besides that, just working, like being glued to my chair and just researching. And so I'm excited. I'm excited about how my research is going, and I just look forward to just keep doing the work pretty much. But for today's chat, the title is Life Is. Um, Life is beautiful. Life is about the choices that you make and how they can affect you. And then I'm going to just talk about like timing. Is timing really important? So Friday, I had like this nostalgic moment. I was leaving work, and I was driving to Arundel High School. And I was driving there. My little cousin had a football game. He's in high school. He plays for Elkton. And so as I'm driving there and I'm finding parking, I was just like, wow, this is taking me back down memory lane. So some people know this, some people don't. So my senior year in high school, I initially started high school in Great Mills. Well, my senior year. I started my senior year in Great Mills High School in Great Mills, Maryland. That is in Southern Maryland. Let me tell you, it's country in Southern Maryland. So St. Mary's County is country, but I honestly, like, I had fun. And out of all the three high schools I went to, I can say by far, I think that was probably like the best high school I went to. Like, the high school, we had fun. And I remember driving to Arundel this past Friday, and I was like, it's a great feeling. So my senior year, I started in Great Mills. Part of my junior year was in Great Mills High School as well. So my senior year, I'm so excited. We're doing like the superlatives for our yearbook. I'm going to my counselor's office because one of my dream schools that I wanted to attend was University of Maryland Eastern Shore. I wanted to attend there because they had a really good pre-law program. And the counselors and the advisors at my school, they all knew that I wanted to go to law school. So they were like, why don't you go to a school that has a good pre-law program? So it was that school, and it was University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. So those are like the top schools I wanted to go to. And I'm like excited. In the state of Maryland at that one time, they had this program where if you have over 3.0 GPA and you score a certain number on your SATs, you can get a full ride to any state school. And that was good for me because I wanted to go to University of Maryland. So I said, well, all I had to do was just practice for my SATs. The GPA thing was no brainer. I always kept over 3.0. So I said, you know what? I'm excited. I'm so excited. So senior year, just knowing that, hey, like, this is it. Like, I'm almost done. And I went to homecoming with my friends. Homecoming was so much fun. And I think what made it even more fun was that I was able to go to homecoming with my brother. So my brother was what year was he? I think he was a sophomore. Yeah, he was a sophomore at that time. I think he was a sophomore at that time. And it was pretty cool to just hang out with my brother at that time. Like, it was pretty cool to hang out with him. I met with my friends, but we left out together, and then, we just did our own thing. So it was pretty cool. And then after homecoming, my birthday was like the following day. So I just had a great birthday, I'll say that. And I remember after my birthday, I turned 18. And I remember my mom telling us that, hey, there's a good chance that she may move back to Florida. And me, I was like, no, I'm not moving back to Florida. I said, Mom, I'll go back to Philly, but I'm not moving there. And then in my mind, I said, well, I really want to go to University of Maryland, but I want to pay, in-state tuition. And so my uncle said, well, hey, you don't have to leave the state. He lived in Fort Meade at the time. And was like, you can stay with us, finish your senior year, and you could go here. When I lived in Great Mills, well, actually I was living in Lexington Park. My girlfriend that lived next door to me, she was 6 years older than me. So when I was in high school, I rarely hung out with people that were my age. So most of my friends, they were like, if I was a freshman, most of my friends were seniors in high school or like freshmen in college. So most of my friends were always older than me. I rarely hung out with people my age. Like, my sophomore year in high school when I lived in Florida, my friends I started to get really close with, they were seniors and I was a sophomore. And I had one good friend that was my year. But other than that, most of my friends were older. And so my girlfriend, her name was Toya. I never forget this. She was like, if you still want to finish your year out at Great Mills, like, you could just stay with me. And I'm thinking, like, it'll be dope. It's like living with a big sister. But, it's different. It's a different type of feeling when you live with somebody. So I was like, yeah, we're good friends, but can we be really good roommates? And what happens if she kicked me out? I was like, yeah, I don't need these problems. And I don't think I would have been focused. Like, I know that if I would have lived with my friend, it would be no structure. Like, I can make the decision to say, hey, I don't want to go. I don't want to go to school today. And I know that I was always, really like on top of things, but just knowing that I can like really make the decision and say, hey, no. And I knew my goal was to go to college. So I said, I need more structure. Like, I need a mom in the house because, yeah, I need that. And so my uncle said, hey, you should go here. So all my clothes, we were driving. All my clothes is in my mom's car. Like, the car was packed. And I'm standing outside. And I was like, do I really want to go to a new school? Like, this would be my 4th high school if I attend. And I was like, do I really want to go to Arundel? I said, yeah, it's a great school, like a really great school. But I was like, do I really want to go? And I was really at a crossroad. I was like, going back to Great Mills to finish my senior year is not an option because I don't want to live with my friend. Going to Florida was definitely not an option. Definitely not an option. I knew I would have been in a good house setting, but I just knew for me, I said, I want to make my high school years memorable. Like, I want it to be fun and starting all over, meeting people all over again. And me, I'm an introvert. It takes me a while to get out of my shell. By the time I get out of my shell, I'm already out of school. And I was like, yeah, this is not it. So I told my mom, like, I was about to cry. I was like, Mom, I don't want to be here at all. Just take me back to Philly and I'll finish. And so I just started thinking about it. My cousin was like, this could have been your old high school. And I was like, yeah. So I'm sitting down watching the football game. I was like, this could have been, but I'm thankful and I'm grateful that I made a decision to go back to Philly. Like, I made a decision. I don't know what life would have been if I graduated from Arundel. Like, not saying that it wasn't a good school, it was a great school, but I just think that just wasn't the right decision. So life is about the choices that you make. And I think now I'm happy with the fact that I've made that right choice. That choice for me was to move back to Philly. Now, granted, high school, I'm boy crazy, and I'm like, yeah, I want to see the nice looking boys. And at first, one of my reasons not to be in the run, I was like, this is the suburbs. Like, I need to be in the city. This is too slow for me. I need to be somewhere a little fast paced. And when I went to, back to Philly and I finished out high school in Lincoln, it was great. I had a great, like, counselor. Like, Miss Martella was the best counselor ever. And she made sure I got into college. And without her, I just really don't know. Like, I just really don't know how life would be. Like, she was the best. So moving back to Philly it was a blessing for me. It was a blessing. Like, it'll be moments in her office I would just cry, like, just really cry, because I'm like, look, I need help financially with school. Like, I'm not sure how I'm able to pay for X, Y, and Z. And we just had crying sessions. So while I was working at Burger King and later, like, Bare Feet in high school, like, I saved all of my money. Like, I saved all my money to make sure I had money for books and all that. So life is about the choices that you make. Life is beautiful if you make it that way. And now that I look back over my life, the different choices that I made, it made me who I am today. And I'm grateful for that. Like, I'm really grateful. And sometimes you sit back and you say, like, Dag, what if I did this? What if I did that? And I was telling one of my friends, yesterday, I said, sometimes, like, as you get older, you start to really reflect. My birthday is in 2 more weeks, so I'm excited about that. And it just allowed me to be in deep reflection about things like, where am I at in my life right now? Can I really just enjoy this moment? Yes, I have dreams and goals, and maybe some of the dreams have not come to pass yet. But can I really sit here and say, this moment right here, October 4th, 2021, can I sit here and say, I'm enjoying this moment right now? Because I'm not going to ever get it back. And so just learning to enjoy the right now and just know that the future is coming. And I think for me, I am appreciative, but I am a person that likes everything scheduled. Like, I like to have things scheduled. I have my calendar, I'm writing things down, and I get discombobulated when things don't go right. And I realize, like, hey, sometimes things don't go right for a reason, right? It's cool to have everything planned, but what happens when your plan doesn't go along accordingly? Do you just forget about it? Do you give up? And I just realized, hey, I'm going to just enjoy right now. And things don't go as planned, I just know that something that God has planned is even better. And so just really enjoying now. So life is beautiful. Life is what you make it. Some people will say, hey, I made some bad choices. Right, but what are you doing right now? Like, what are you doing in the right now? Can you really sit here and say, I enjoy this moment right now? Irrespective of all the choices that I made, can I sit here and say, I enjoy this right now? And yesterday was a little emotional for me because, I was talking to my best friend and we were just talking about, first of all, Miss Shirley's. I had the salmon, shrimp, and grits, and it was bomb. If you are not from Maryland or you plan to visit, if you want to go somewhere that has good food, like good brunch, definitely go to Miss Shirley's. Miss Shirley's is bomb. There's a wait. Our wait was like an hour, but let me tell you, it was so worth it. And I'm listening to my best friend, we're just talking, and she gets me. And what made it emotional, because I was just telling her about, we were just talking about, like, just the friends that we had in the past and the choice that we made to not allow them to be in the front seat of our life. And that's hard, right? That's hard when you have someone that you really care about and you realize that I don't think this person really care about me like that. And so instead of giving them that privilege to be in the front row of your life, have like a front seat, they have to be like in the nosebleeds. Like, they have to be like way back. And that's hard, but you want people that's in your life that support you. And the thing that I told her is, life is about making sure you have good people in your life. Life is about having good friends, making a decision to determine who's a good friend and who's not. if they're not a good friend, you gotta let them go. And I told her, I said, what makes me think about things? I said, I think about when I'm in the worst situations, or if I'm in a bad situation, who can I really depend on? And I told her, I said, you know what I started to think? I said, if I had to go to the hospital today, who can I really call? I'm not saying, hey, can you take me to the hospital? That's what the ambulance is for, right? I'll just call 911, put me out on the stretcher, right? And I pray that my insurance pay for the bill. But if I'm in a hospital, who can I really call on? Who would actually visit me? If I'm in a hospital, who would actually check up on me? And it was so sad because I couldn't think of a lot of people as it relates to friends. Like, I couldn't think of a lot of people. But I remember when I was in the hospital 5 years ago, and I remember the people that actually showed up. Like, I still remember that. Even though I was like high on medicine and just like in a lot of pain, like those things you never forget. Like, never forget. Like, Melissa, she had a night class. Like, she drove an hour and a half to the hospital from Philly to Central Jersey to make sure I was okay when I got out the hospital. Like, she was right there when I got released. And went to CVS for me to get my medication. And I remember this day because I wasn't working at the time, and I was paying for my own insurance. And so I remember the Medicaid, because prior to me having this insurance, my other job pretty much covered for everything from my insurance. But I had Care First, and I had to like pay out of pocket. And I remember like getting my medication, and it was like $400, please. And I just broke down crying because I was like, I'm broke as fuck. Like, I don't have no money. And I cried because I was like, I really need this medication. Like, that's not something I can just bypass. Like, I really need this medication. But I remember my mom and my best friend getting into a huddle like, okay, this is how much I have. This is how much I have. And it wasn't about the money. It wasn't about the money. It was a fact that they were trying to make a way for me. They wanted to figure something out. Granted, the person at the cashier was like, let me see if I can help you. And she found like a coupon. And she was like, I hope this helps. So she scanned the coupon. She was like, this is $10. And I was like, she found some, because they knew like the medication, like if you ever had a blood clot, like the medication for blood clots are expensive. And she found a coupon and was like, here you go. And it helped. And so I told her, I said, that makes you think, like, you know, when you're in dire situations, like, who can you count on? And the people that come to your mind, those are the people that you should really cherish. You should really, really cherish. But life is about being content and knowing that greater is coming. Life is what you make it. It's definitely what you make it. I read this actual meme. One of my girlfriends, she posted it on social media. It was about, you know, timing. And do you meet the right people but at the wrong time? And I used to think that, like, you know, sometimes you may come across somebody and you meet them. They're probably a great person, but you just meet them at the wrong time. I read it. But then I was reading more into what it was saying. It was pretty much saying that that's not really true. Because the right people are timeless. They're timeless. And I had to really think about that, and I realized that I agree. I think the right people are timeless. The right people will stay in your life. I think that you meet some good people in your life, but they're not meant to stay. And it may seem like it's the wrong time, but sometimes it's just their time to just leave. And I never forget, I asked somebody, I was like, you know, what happened? Like what happened to us? Like, what was it? I was like, this is not for us to get back together again. But I said, do you imagine, like, being in a relationship with someone, being with someone, and everything's going well? Like, everything's going well. You laugh together, you do everything together. And this person just wakes up one day and just says, hey, I don't think I could do this anymore. And I'm the type of person, if you tell me that, at that time, I'm not going to ask no questions. I was like, okay, if that's what you want, I can't force you to stay here. And it made me think, like, what questions should I ask at the time? And I realized that maybe it was that person's time to leave. But the question did get asked. Like, I asked, like, years later, like, what happened? And the person said, I was scared. I was scared. It was like, you were great. It was nothing wrong. Like, we had a great relationship. It was great. I just got scared. Like, I knew you were about to move, and I was scared about what happens if it doesn't work out. And I said, you never gave it a chance. Like, you never gave it a shot. You just assumed. Like, you just never gave it a shot. But I said, I will tell you this. I said, I do appreciate the times that we shared. I do. I said, I can definitely say that you made me a better person. And I'll never forget that. But yeah, I don't think that I met that person at the wrong time. I met that person at the right time. They just wasn't meant to be in my life forever. And I appreciate that time. That's why I don't see how people can talk about like past relationships and like talk bad about that person. Like, that person came in your life for a reason. And I'm pretty sure you had great times with that person. So the fact that you want to like bash that person, unless they did you dirty, but I mean, there's a way about that. But people come in your life for a reason. They teach you things, and sometimes we want people to stay, but life is realizing that some people are not meant to stay in your life forever. Life is about cherish the people that are here now, because the right people are timeless. The right people will stay. The right people will do right by you. The right people will do right by you. And I realize that you can have a lot of people in your life, but who does right by you? Who does right by you? Like, I'm quiet, but I'm so observant. I'm so observant. Like, I have to send a mushy text message to somebody today, just telling this girl, like, yo, you really rock. Life is about welcoming the positive energy in your life. Life is about welcoming new people that can help you along the way. A lot of times people say, oh, no new friends, and I don't need no new people. But sometimes the old friends that you have, you need to kick them to the curb, because they may be trash, right? They may be trash, and you may have to do that. But just welcoming new things, and just welcoming just a breath of fresh air, right? A breath of fresh air. Just welcoming like the new things that God has for you. And I'm learning that life is good. And I'm learning to just really appreciate like the right now. Like, I've been calm lately. I've been really calm. And that just reassures me that I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah, I could be an overthinker sometimes. I just know that if I set my mind on something, I want it. So I always think like, okay, what if? And I realize like, hey, the things you want, you already got it. And just walk in it. But it's amazing. Life is exactly what you make it. Enjoy each day as if it was your last. You're not going to ever get this day back. Lastly, 2 years ago from this date, my Uncle Eddie had his memorial service. That was on a Saturday, October 4th. Never forget that. And that was my first time like planning a memorial service. Like, me and my cousin Kelly planned the whole thing. Like, I don't even know what my aunt paid the funeral home, like the church for, but they just printed out the obituaries, honestly. Like, me and my cousin, we planned everything. Like, we just planned everything. And the one thing that I've learned in life, and especially as an attorney, is like, we could plan for so many things, but we don't plan for death. It's something that's going to happen to all of us, right? It's something that's going to happen to all of us. But we don't really plan for it. Like, we don't plan for death. We just assume that everybody is going to be here forever, and they're not. And I don't think you could plan for someone's death, but you could be prepared and say, hey, like legally, like what could happen. So I tell you this, make sure you have a will. Make sure your deed is done correctly. Like, who actually owns your house? What happens if you die? Like, who gets your house? Your bank accounts. Like, does anyone know, like, your bank accounts that you have? Is there anybody that you could trust, that you could have as a beneficiary on your bank account? So if something happens, they have access to it. And you'd be surprised, like, when some family members die, because some people like to keep things a secret, like, so much stuff come out in the woodworks. And I'm like, this could have been avoided if these conversations were done while that person was still here. So life is also death, right? You live to die. And so what are you doing now while you're here on earth? Like, what are you doing here now? Are you just existing, or are you living? And if you're just existing, what's your purpose? Why are you not making life meaningful? Life is about cherishing every single second. Now, sometimes you may not have good days. You may have some bad days. That's life. But just know that your bad days don't last forever. They don't. Life is, it could be lit. It can be lit. That's all that I have for today. I hope that you just appreciate the choices that you made in your life. And we can't go back to yesterday. We can't go back to last year. We can't go back to 5 years ago. We can't go back to 10 years ago. But what we can do is appreciate today. We can really appreciate today. Be content with today. Appreciate the choices that you made. You made those for a reason at that particular time. Can't go back and change it and say, hey, I want to have a redo. But what you can do is make the decision now to say, hey, I want better, and I'm going to go after it. Life is about making sure you have the right people in your life. It's about making sure you have the right people in your life. Life is also death, so make sure you plan for that. Make sure you have a life insurance policy. Talk to an attorney about getting a will. You know, if you can't afford to get an attorney, then you can go to, like, there's pro bono clinics, and they may be able to assist you. So if you have low income, your services may be for free. If you don't meet the income threshold, they could figure out a way to help you. That's all I have for today. I hope that your Monday is well. Shout out to the dope men, my MCMs. That goes to all the dope kings out there. Keep doing your thing. Just never forget how amazing you are, how dope you are, how phenomenal you are. I just think that we need to speak more into men, because a lot of times men just had this, they're told you have to be strong and you have to be masculine and you can't show emotions, you can't cry. But I think men also need words of affirmation. Even if it's not their love language, just let them know, like, they are amazing. You don't know what they encounter on an everyday basis, especially if they're like a professional man and they come home after a long day of work, turn the TV on, look at the news, and just see someone that look just like them killed. So in my opinion, I think that's a lot. You know, I can look at TV and see a black man killed, and even though I'm not a man, I have a father, I have brothers, I have cousins, and I can say, like, what if it was them? So to be a man and see all the stuff going on TV and just the craziness, regardless of where you're at, I know that's a lot. And then you have to walk in your office as if nothing never happened, especially with the George Floyd thing. Like, just imagine seeing that on TV and you have to log in your computer as if it didn't affect you. So all the dope men out there, you are amazing. You are great. You are phenomenal. You are capable of great things. You are meant to be at the table that you're at. You're meant to be at the job that you're at. And just know that great things are coming. And to everybody else, I hope that you have a great Monday. I hope that you just never forget how amazing you really are, because you really are amazing. And just have a great week. Like, just a phenomenal week. Take care.